What if I told you that one of the greatest mathematical breakthroughs of the 20th century didn't happen because of genius preparation, but because a student overslept in 1939? George Dantzig arrived late to class, saw 2 problems on the board, and assumed they were homework. If he had been on time, he would have known the truth. Those problems were considered impossible, unsolvable, but because he didn't know that, he solved them. In this video, we're telling the legendary story of the unsolvable homework to teach you a controversial lesson. Stop researching your dreams to death. Sometimes, the only way to achieve the impossible is to be ignorant enough to try. Welcome back to Thought Trek. This week we're on the clarity quest, destroying the myth that you need a perfect plan before you take action. We're taught that knowledge is power. But today we're going to argue that knowledge, specifically knowing how hard something is, can be a trap. Let's look at how being late, unprepared, and uninformed made history. The year is 1939. The place is UC Berkeley. George Dantzig is a doctoral candidate, and like many students, he's running late. He bursts into the lecture hall of the famous statistician Jerzy Neyman. The class is ending. On the chalkboard, there are 2 complicated statistical theorems written out. George panics. He thinks, great, I missed the lecture, and now I have extra homework. He scribbles them down into his notebook just before the professor erases the board. For the next few days, George is miserable. He stares at these 2 problems. They are harder than anything he's ever seen. He feels stupid. He thinks, everyone else probably finished this in an hour. So he grinds, he drinks coffee. He forces his brain to find a path through the fog. Finally, defeated and exhausted, he solves them. He goes to Professor Neyman's office, knocks on the door and apologizes. "I'm sorry this is late," he says. "The problems were a little harder than usual." He leaves the papers on a messy desk and walks away, worried he'll get a bad grade. 6 weeks later, on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m., George wakes up to someone banging on his front door. It's Professor Neyman. He's breathless. He's waving the papers in the air. "George," he shouts, "do you know what you've done?" George is confused. "I'm sorry, did I get the answer wrong?" Neyman stares at him and says, "Wrong, George. Those weren't homework problems. I wrote them on the board as examples of famous unsolvable problems in statistics that experts have been trying to crack for decades. You just solved them in a weekend." Here's the lesson. If George had been on time, he would have heard the professor say, "These are impossible. Don't waste your time." He would have built a mental wall. But because he missed the warning, he treated the impossible like a standard Tuesday night assignment. He didn't have planning paralysis. He just had a pencil and a deadline. So how do you apply the Dantzig effect to your own life? Most people are too on time for their own good. We listen to the warnings before we even start. We accept limits that were never tested. Step 1. Ban the odds. When you have a big idea, starting a channel, building a business, changing your body, do not Google how hard it is to succeed. Don't look up the failure rate. Don't read the threads about how saturated it is. Knowing the odds doesn't help you, it freezes you. Be late to that lecture. Ignore the statistics. Step 2. Reframe it as homework. Dantzig succeeded because he thought it was just homework. If he knew it was a world-changing theorem, he would have locked up. So trick your brain. Don't call it my magnum opus. Call it the weekend assignment. Don't call it launching a startup. Call it selling one thing to one person. When you lower the stakes, you lower the fear. Step 3. Arrive late and start anyway. Skip the preamble. Skip the endless tutorials. Skip the perfect preparation. Just look at the problem on the board and try to solve it with the tools you have right now. You will struggle, yes, but you won't be limited by the dogma of people telling you what you can't do. Assume it's solvable and your brain will work over time to prove you right. George Dantzig wasn't the only smart person in that class, but he was the only one who didn't know his limits. The fog of ignorance wasn't a barrier, it was a shield that protected him from doubt. Stop waiting for the perfect explanation. Sometimes, the best way to clear the fog is to put your head down and do the homework. If you're ready to treat your impossible dream like a weekend assignment, hit that like button. And if you want another example of someone who ignored the experts and survived the impossible, watch our weekend story. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching. This is Thought Trek. Keep walking.